welcome to this edition of the Dane Chenery Show, and I'm your host, Dane Chenery. You know, this evening we have a very special show. In 1991, a group of gentlemen got together and decided that there needed to be an LGBT organization for professionals. This evening we have the president of that organization, Jason DeMello, and we have a board member, Evan Campbell. Please welcome our guest to the show.
Dane, how are you?
Hi,
hey,
Evan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Tell me about the GBBC.
Oh goodness, where should we begin? Well, the organization, like you said, was started in 1991 in somebody's living room, and it was a group of individuals that wanted to get together and make an impact throughout the LGBT community. Since 1991, the organization has transformed into an amazing organization where we are today.
Okay.
We're an organization that its core value has to support the LGBT business community.
Okay.
Since 1991, we've really grown. We now do a lot of fundraisers for our nonprofit organizations such as AIDS Action, Community Servings, and the Boston Living Center and Boston Center for the Arts.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yes, we do a lot of fundraising for our nonprofits. We also work very closely with our national level, which is the NGLCC, National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce.
There's a national organization,
There is
too.
a national, yes, there is.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yep.
Now, Evan, as a board member, because you're on the board, you're the president of the organization.
Correct.
And you're on the board.
Yep.
What's it like being on the board?
It's been a lot of fun, actually. Jason and I have worked together in the past, and when he pulled me into the organization, it was nice to kind of feel a part of the business community. Since we've kind of revamped the executive board,
Okay.
we've brought in a lot of individuals with kind of varying backgrounds in business. I think initially most of the professionals came from bigger corporations that dealt, obviously on more of a corporate scale. So to be part of an organization as a restaurateur has been very interesting because it brings a whole new side to bringing together some of the LGBT businesses in the area. So
You said restaurateur. Which restaurant?
well, I run the Trophy Room in Boston. It's in the south end of Boston. It's a
Okay.
nice little bar restaurant.
So you're the one who actually tapped him to actually get involved.
Correct.
What's it like being the president?
So I've currently held the role now for about 2
You are
months.
so handsome.
Thank you. I've currently
I've gone off topic. Just gone off topic. So no, what's it like being the president?
Well, I've only been in the role now for the past 2 months. I have been affiliated with the organization now for about 4.5 years.
Okay.
So I've seen my predecessors, come and go, and they've done a great job leading the path to where we are today. We would not be where we are if I had not had our predecessors that we've had. So it's kind of a hard question to ask, being in the role for only the past 2 months. It's already had its challenges, and challenges meaning, are we doing the right thing? Are we still keeping the organization on the path that it's supposed to go and still tapping into some of those new ventures that we're trying to do, such as our mentoring program, working with the national level for our SCORE and SBA to certify our LGBT businesses, and things of that nature. So we're still growing, we're still changing, we're still evolving, and that should be the goal of the organization even after I leave and Evan leaves, that we want the organization still to evolve. And
So to continue in that fashion.
Correct.
Now, as a restaurateur, what did you see some of the advantages of becoming a member of the GBBC?
Well, the Trophy Room, where I'm the chef and the general manager.
Where are they located?
It's in the south end at the Chandler Inn.
Okay, I see.
We run as an LGBT restaurant. Previously, it was Fritz Lounge, which has been a gay sports bar for 30 years, so we're kind of continuing the legacy of that. And it's kind of given a voice to a smaller LGBT business where we're able to tap into the resources and the contacts that you get from a lot of the bigger businesses in the area, and also kind of bring a different perspective on some of the fundraising events. Being in a background of hospitality and entertaining, it's helpful to have that when you're trying to plan events that raise money for a lot of our nonprofits.
Wow, so that was one of the reasons why you thought it was a good reason to get involved in the GBBC from the beginning.
Yeah, and it's a huge neighborhood organization, and being a South Ender myself, having the business there, it's a nice way to get to know the area and get to know the community.
Okay, well, I gave him a compliment. I'm going to give you one. I love the hair, and you're handsome too. You're both handsome.
Thank you.
Got handsome men sitting here.
Thank you.
So, Are you happy about the direction that the GBBC is taking?
Absolutely. You know, the one thing that I have to, you know, really put out there is that every one of our board members and our co-chairs, because we've really kind of redesigned how the GBBC is going to work this year since I've taken the president's role.
Redesigning meaning?
We've now added co-chairs, so subcommittees. So, for example, we'll have a committee chair for events, committee chair for our mentoring program, committee chair for our supplier diversity and inclusion.
Now, what's that? Pride, diversity, and inclusion. What does that mean?
Supplier diversity and inclusion. So it's a program that the NGLCC has actually put on in its chapters throughout the nation have worked with. So we're very grateful that they've led the way in that. So basically, it is the business 51% LGBT owned or more. So we will go on site and we will certify that they are, you know, where they need to be ethically, from tax reporting purposes to running the business correctly, and what we can do to help them get on this supply diversity and inclusion list. So basically, you have a lot of larger corporations that have the human resources departments that are available to do that. Well, you're more mom and mom or pop and pop shops, we want to call them.
I love that.
That way gives them the same advantage as the larger corporations to be educated and have the tools and resources to make sure that they're being, that they're giving their employees the benefits that they.
Now, I understand that you do things about benefits too. You offer ways and means for people to get insurance or something like that for the organization if you're a small business.
Well, we have two major corporate sponsors, and we work.
Eastern Bank?
Well, Eastern Bank is definitely one of our major corporate sponsors. We have a lot. We actually have a lot of corporate sponsors, but on the insurance side, you know, working closely with Blue Cross Blue Shield and Harvard Pilgrim, we're very fortunate in the fact that they are able to help our members out. So them being members and corporate sponsors to the organization, it makes a nice tight-knit family, so to say. So we're, you know, this year for 2016, we're looking to put on a two-day workshop from for the LGBT business owner, from supply diversity and inclusion to tax preparation to SCORE, from SBA lending on the financial side, right down to the insurance, what they would need, the do's and don'ts in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So we're really trying to put together a great program from our corporate level right down to our mom and pop shops.
Wow, so you've got a lot of different organizations in one organization, and they kind of help each other out.
Correct.
That's a fantastic thing.
We operate just like any other chamber of commerce would.
Okay.
However, our core value is it's an LGBT chamber. Though we don't say, you know, if you're a straight business, you can't be part of us. Absolutely, we welcome everybody.
It's just a community of fabulous businesses.
Well, I like that. I like that. You know, give me some examples of some of the types of businesses that you have.
Well, on the corporate level, you know, anything from financial services to insurance to real estate, right down to, like I said, the pop and pop, from cleaning to restaurants.
Restaurants,
nonprofit organizations. We have a very diverse group of members, just like we have a very diverse group of board members. And that was the whole goal this year when we revamped the board. We really looked try to look out of the box and say, okay, well, we need a piece of the puzzle from everybody. You know, that's going to be from the LGBTQ, you know, community. Now we've added that acronym Q to it. So it's really taken off and it's doing well. I'm really excited about working with our NGLCC partners down in Washington, coming up here to Boston, and working with our supply diversity and inclusion, and working for this new program that we're putting out for our workshops with SCORE and SBA and the insurance.
So you're seeing a lot of interlinking. Are you happy as a board member?
Very much so. I think that a big draw for me to be part of the group is every single board member we have, it's 100% volunteer. I mean, everybody puts in their time because they're passionate about, you know, making sure everything runs smoothly, that our nonprofits are, you know, getting the most bang for their buck in terms of what they're putting forward. So to see a group of people come together, you know, obviously we have a great time when we do get together, which makes it manageable when we actually, you know, meet up for planning meetings, for putting together a lot of these programs. But you see how hard everybody's working, and everybody kind of brings something different to the table. So it's really, you know, we're kind of set up for success, in my opinion, with a group of people that we've started to develop. granted, we have plenty of room for interested board members and anybody who wants to be
Right.
part of the community. But it's been really great to have a core group to get started who all kind of is looking towards the same direction and is putting in the same amount of time and effort to make sure that things are going smoothly.
Now, as a board member, are you putting more tools in your tool basket by being on the board?
Absolutely. You know, my background, you know, in the restaurant business and, you know, previously working in a couple of other different departments, to be around a group of people who, again, I mean, Jason working in banking, it's a background that I'm not familiar with, so he has a, you know, pool of knowledge that I can pull from that benefits, you know, even my own business, because obviously as a restaurant, we still have to make sure that we're insured and that we're taking care of our employees, and, you know, just to have, you know, different scales and different models to look at, you know, within the group has been hugely beneficial, you know, at an individual basis and obviously for the business as well.
Wow, wow. We have to take a moment for our sponsors.
Absolutely.
I'm sitting with Jason DeMillo, Evan Campbell from the GBBC. We're going to talk more about all of the benefits of becoming a member. We'll be right back. Keep it locked.
The Cambridge Real Estate Collaborative is a proud supporter of the Dane Chenery Show. Please consider our real estate institution if you have ever dreamed of a career in the lucrative and fast-paced field of real estate. Whether you're just joining the field as a sales agent or desire becoming a broker, in need of continuing educational hours, or just polishing up your real estate skills, we offer a full range of training and educational services to fit your needs. Also, take advantage of our 5% discount for the Dane Chenery Show viewers by going to our website, www.thecambridgerealestatecollaborative.com, and entering the code DANE.
Welcome back, and I'd like to thank our sponsors. I'm sitting with Evan Campbell and Jason DeMello from the GBBC, the Greater Boston Business Council, and we're talking about some of the benefits of being a member of the GBBC. Now, tell me, as the president, what type of work do you do? Or what do you oversee?
What do I oversee? Well, we all oversee. It's not so. When we put together the organization and brought on the new board this year, titles are just a title. We all work together as a team, so it's not really that I oversee anything in particularly. We all, as a group, share in it and
You work together.
We all work together. No
Wow.
decisions are final until it's all put across the board and everybody's on board with it. So it truly is a team effort. It's just titles as far as I'm concerned. Who's the president? Who's the vice president? So, you know, we're very entwined. You know, working with our national level, constantly on conference calls and dealing with our businesses throughout the Boston and Cambridge area, you know, and on Cape Cod and the islands. So, you know, we can get phone calls, anything from, you know, hey, how do I become a member, to, hey, I don't understand, how do I do this, and can you help me out? So we're so entwined with our community that it really does just flow into the next piece, and one day just turns into the next. So it's hard to justify or nail down what we do on a day-to-day basis, because every day is different.
Hey, how do I become a member? Let's start with that.
Absolutely. There's actually multiple ways you can become a member.
Multiple ways. I love that.
You can go on to our website at gbbc.org, and you can actually do an electronic application there. You can meet with any of the board members. We will actually come to on-site, and we will actually do an application with you there. Or you can come to any of our events that we have.
You have events?
We do have a lot of events.
Let's talk about events.
Yeah, we every quarter we do host a kind of cocktail mixer where you can come and meet the board members. You can discuss, you know, what your business does, how you can get involved, and then obviously meet people within the community with similar ideas and interests. We also host a couple of big events, primarily during Pride Week. We host the tree lighting, which is the kickoff to Pride, which was recently revamped in the last couple of years.
Tell me about that. Was that a great experience?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Really?
I mean, I've done a lot of work with the BCA in the past, the Boston Center for the Arts.
Okay.
We work very closely with them for a lot of our events. Plus, they have such a beautiful space there, and
yeah,
right
I
on the
agree.
promenade, we were able to kind of show everybody that it's, you know, it's our time and kickoff for the week, and also you know, be able to benefit one of our big nonprofits.
So all the proceeds from the tree lighting go to the Boston Center for the Arts. So when we do our events like the tree lighting, we raise that money for that specific organization, because obviously the tree is on their plaza, so it just makes sense. We also hold our Boston Harbor Pride boat cruise.
Boat cruise?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was this year we were very excited about it. It was one of the fullest boats we've had in quite some time. And all the proceeds go to that, go to AIDS Action Community and to community serving. So, and that's just been something that the organization has kept trend with over the years. And those are two of the big organizations that we've really supported year after year after year.
And it's a nice opportunity for a lot of our bigger affiliates to get involved and to be able to help out, our little community of businesses.
Correct.
A ton of our corporate sponsors, whether it be throwing in a raffle item or helping assist with filling the boat, it's definitely a group effort, and those big events are kind of our bread and butter in terms of getting the community together and building, continuing to build the GBBC.
Now, I understand on your website that you help with job placement. Is that true also?
We do.
Or you try to do something like that?
We do. I mean, we're not a recruiting agency by any means, but we absolutely do. I mean, because of the events that we have and the networking events that we have, we work with a lot of our sponsors and members, and we could have the small business owner say, hey, I have this spot open, I'm having a hard time getting it. Through our networking events or just talking to anybody on the board, we may have candidates. We do get a lot of candidates that come through across our desk on a day-to-day basis, say, hey, I'm looking for a job, I'm looking for something within the LGBT community, can you help us out?
Or even just in terms of interests. I mean, I've had people come to these mixers and say, I know very little about insurance, is there somebody that I can speak with, in terms of looking towards an occupation or even, a job, and we have people with that wealth of knowledge to at least lead you in the right direction.
Right.
Wow. So there's some cross-pollinating going on within the organization.
Absolutely. I'll use a perfect example. We had a young lady that had reached out to us through the NGLCC. She was moving to the Boston area. Her and her partner moving here, had no place to live, had no job, didn't know where to go, but they wanted to move to the city of Boston. Met with her, I think it was like 10 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. By 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we had, had short-term stay through Evan here at the Chandler Inn Studios. We had a quick job so that she could have something, so she had some income coming in until she actually got what she wanted for her career. So it kind of put the Band-Aid on the situation, so to say. And that's what we do. That's truly what we do, and it doesn't have to be just LGBT geared, even though that is our core value. We're here to help out our community.
Wow, wow. What's it like being in this Fritz location, but with something completely new and different?
Well, in my opinion, and when the owner and myself sat down to sort of formulate a plan on what would be appropriate to fill the space, I'm from down south where things operate.
Where down south?
I grew up in Virginia, a little town called Woodbridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been in Boston for about 5 years now. But in my opinion, Boston, Massachusetts in general, is way ahead of the curve in terms of acceptance. And
our politics are a bit forward.
Right, exactly.
Which is nice.
Yeah, and in my
refreshing,
opinion,
I think.
yeah, with the way things stand in Boston, there's not necessarily the same need for gay bars in the same way that there once was. And I think the same goes for businesses, which is why we've sort of opened up the model for a bit. The LGBT community is looking for a place where they feel comfortable, but they also have great drinks and great food and in a great location.
And music, I understand.
And music. We do live music on Mondays and Wednesdays.
That I heard.
All local groups we pick from some of the universities in the area, whether it be students or alumni or professors even. We switch it up to get them involved, which has been nice, getting new blood in and getting them to know the area.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely, absolutely.
Wow. So what's next for the GBBC?
What's next for the GBBC? Well, we have our corporate sponsor reception that we hold once a year at the mayor's residence up on Beacon Hill for all our corporate sponsors, and then after that would be our Awards for Excellence dinner. So we will be holding our Awards for Excellence dinner where we name, Corporation of the Year, Small Business of the Year, Citizen of the Year, President's Award, things like that. So that's usually.
Do you know where you're going to have it? Do you have any? This is where the subcommittees come in.
This is where the subcommittees come in. So
when I say work to do, it's work
to do. So
I understand.
Historically, we've always held those events at, whether if it's the top of the Hub or the W Hotel. Last year, we held it at the Cyclorama at the Boston Center for the Arts.
Okay.
It was a great experience bringing the event back to the South End where it had originated. This year, it's still up. We have a couple of places that we're looking at. There's about 3 different locations that are still there. So we, as the board, have to decide which one we're going to go for and which one's on a monetary level, obviously.
Well, yes, I think,
because
that
we
makes
are
sense.
a nonprofit.
Right.
So it'll be someplace in the heart of Boston, but we will nail it down very soon.
Wow. How can people get involved, either to give money or to donate services?
Oh, we're always looking for donors, and we're always looking for new members.
Okay.
I strongly urge those individuals to reach out to the GBBC at gbbc.org and email me at president@thegbbbc.org.
All of our contact information is on the website. Also, we are on the bandwagon with our social media, so you can certainly check out the GBBC Facebook page as well.
Okay.
And anybody that you can reach out and contact with any of our lists of sponsors, certainly available. You can stop into the trophy room if you have questions.
Okay.
I'm there most of the time. So
Practically lives there.
Tell me a little bit about the GBBC directory and how it's used.
So the directory that we have, so there's different levels of memberships and different levels of corporate sponsorships.
Okay.
Depending on your level of sponsorship or membership will be how you're placed in the directory.
Okay.
So obviously if you're a corporate sponsor, you're going to be splashed all over the front of the website.
That's platinum?
That's our platinum level. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And our members, I mean, we still get all our members on there. So all members are listed on the GBBC's website.
Okay.
We are very excited. We just revamped our website, so it's just now been completed. And
Nice. New
slowly-
look, new feel. You
Right.
like that?
We like
Good.
a little bit more urban feel, so it's very hot and sexy.
Aye.
We like that.
That's nice. We like that.
So there are still little final tweaks to come to it, and we're migrating all that stuff in now. But each day it's better and better, and it's up and running now, which is a great thing.
Up and running. I like those two things together. Are you happy?
I'm very happy.
You're happy as a member? You're happy as a president?
Absolutely.
Very happy.
I would really like to thank you both for coming on the show. Jason DeMello, the
Thank you.
president of the GBBC, and Evan Campbell, the board member of the GBBC. Thanks for coming on the
Thank
show.
you for
Thank
having
you for
us.
talking
Thank you.
about the GBBC. We're going to have you back again, as
you.
things develop. It would be great. Would you come back?
We would love to
Absolutely,
come
yeah.
back. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I'm going to just,
Thank you.
This is Dane Chenery. I'd like to thank you for tuning in. This is Jason DeMello and Evan Campbell. Please, if you're interested in getting more information about the Greater Boston Business Council, please, at the end of the show, we're going to put up all of their information. I'd like to thank you for watching. If you miss a minute, you miss a lot, and have a great week. Thanks for watching. Now, well, how did you end up from a town of 400 citizens to California?
Yeah.
That's a big leap.
It is. It is. Well, I was 22 years old and I finished college. I had an opportunity to travel during college, so I spent a 6-month stint in France and went to school and took all my classes in French and loved that.
Hollywood Français?
Oui, but now I speak Spanish, so whenever I try to speak French, je m'appelle français, but I start to speak Spanish after about a sentence. I'm going to be back on the East Coast. I think I'm starting to think maybe I should practice my French again, go to Quebec. I spent a summer in Quebec City working for the YMCA also, so I mostly speak Quebecois. And then I went to Wyoming for a year and studied journalism there. And I had a teacher who said, Bisbee, my last name Bisbee, you're gonna go cover the football game. And I said, no, I'm a baseball fan. I don't like football. There's just a bunch of drunk people. And he said, oh, do you have a better idea? And I said, yeah, there's this thing called AIDS, and I think we should do a story about it in Wyoming. And he looked at me, and this was a Dick Cheney fan. He said, yeah, there's no gay people in Wyoming. And I looked at him, and the next day I quit all of my classes. Well, actually, I flunked them because I didn't go back.
Right.
I
But you
quit.
left.
I left the journalism
Right.
program entirely, and I started my own underground newspaper. I was so incensed by the fact that he had said this and his ignorance about what was going on in our community. And I started my own newspaper. I competed with his newspaper. And we were successful in getting a lot of advertisers to support the paper. And we had a clandestine lab in the University of Wyoming where we were using X-Acto knives to print the paper. And so that was kind of my roots of community media. I was very excited about the openness on both the geographic level and also the emotional level and the energetic level in Wyoming and in the West.
Right.
And then I also really liked that people had some radical ideas out there that I hadn't heard in New England. So I was very excited about that. And I came back to New England and then soon set out on quite an adventure at 22, across country, 6 months. Whenever my car would break down, I would stop and get a job and work for a month or so. And then I finally made it to California with a $20 bill in my pocket and my dog and everything I owned with me. So, the last 22 years have been really incredible. I've had wonderful opportunities. I've worked as a community organizer and as an activist. I worked with the United Farm Workers. I worked with many, many different groups within the Latino community. I've had opportunities to travel to Latin America and work on films there. And then I worked in the tech industry for 13 years.
You worked almost in every type of industry that has anything to do with media.
It's true.
Media production.
And communications, absolutely.
Fantastic,
Yeah,
though. So
yeah.
this makes this being here, the executive director, a fantastic thing.
Absolutely. And I had an opportunity after I worked in the tech industry to go into community media. I was actually a producer, and I was producing independent social documentaries in Latin America. I produced a film about coffee harvesting with my, I was actually the line producer. In Guatemala.
In Guatemala, okay.
Yeah. And I actually was the line producer on that with my film partner, and then he and I worked on a film together called Don't Cost Nothing to Dream.
Yes.
And it's about youth in Cuba, Nicaragua, and Guatemala who are using music as an instrument of hope and change in their communities. And we were very fortunate. We had 25 days in Latin America. We shot in 3 countries and many languages because Guatemalans, their native language is not Spanish.
No.
There's 16 recognized languages in Guatemala, dialects of the indigenous people there, but there's quite a few more. Wow. And so we had kids hip-hopping, rapping in Cockchacal, which is one of the Guatemalan indigenous dialects. Cuban is not Spanish. It's very hard to understand. So we came back to the States, and then we were able to translate and spent 5 years editing it, and then took it to some film festivals and won a few small awards.
Wow. Yeah. Now that's absolutely exciting to actually work on documentaries like that. I mean,